You know, if you had asked me 2 years ago what I thought about Norwegian television, I probably would have asked you what part of Germany Norway was in. But here we are. So, introductions. How do you do those? Well, first of all, you say, hello. Hello, my name is Gina, and I'll be your waiter today. My name is Gina, and I am here to talk to you today about one very special man and why I hate him. William Magnussen is a character in Skam, directed and written by Julie Andem. Skam is a Norwegian TV show about a bunch of teenagers. Each season follows a different teenager, different problems, stuff like that. And while I do love Skam a lot, I think it's a wonderful show, I think it's directed beautifully, I also think there are a lot of overarching problems. Like, not like things that I'm just like, oh man, that kind of sucks. It's stuff that has genuinely like deterred my enjoyment of the show because they're just really bad decisions. Stuff that I think is at best misdirected and at worst harmful to its viewers. Disclaimer, I don't hate Julie Andem. I don't think she's devil incarnate. I think she comes from a different place in life than a lot of the people who watch the show and kind of take issue with a lot of her decisions, me being one of those people. I think she's a good director. I think the show is very artfully pieced together. I think there are a lot of moments in different seasons that are really touching, really funny, really cool. I don't care how many people don't like all of the slow-mo scenes. I love the slow-mos. I don't hate Julie Andem. What I do hate is some of her decisions. And that's what I want to talk about today. I don't think that Skam should be perfect. I don't hate Skam for not being perfect. Nothing that anyone puts out in the world is ever going to be perfect, but I do think that it's important to talk about the things that make shows imperfect so that going forward, people like authors, producers can understand how to better their media, how to better address, represent their audience. So, William. So we first meet William in season 1 when it is very, very subtly imply that he is going to be an important character. Like, really subtly. So since his introduction, William has become a very divisive character, probably the most divisive character in Skam. I'm here to talk about why I think William's character doesn't work. What doesn't work about it, what went wrong, and why every time I hear his name do I want to jump into the nearest wildfire. So I took one creative writing class in high school, so I think that makes me pretty much the leading expert on what makes a good character, okay? I think there are 3 base categories that separate real 3D characters from like cardboard characters that like walk on screen and maybe speak a little bit, but even then they're not really speaking. It's just kind of like when you open like a birthday card and then that automatic voice comes out like the back of the card. Anyway, so those 3 things are background, who is this person, what's their story, 2, connection, relationships that this person has or form, and 3 is goal. What is this person's interests, what do they want, what are their goals? And the thing about William is he doesn't really meet almost any of these. And like the things that he does have are like flimsy at best. Let's talk about backstory first. So William's backstory is real fucking cliche. His filthy rich parents are separated and one is like a workaholic asshole and the other one is a neglectful drunk, right? And his older brother is like some evil psychopath who is out to get him specifically because I don't know why, maybe he hates happiness. I actually think it's because his older brother is technically illegitimate, like he's from another marriage, and so William's father didn't like him best or something. Also, his sister is dead. That is it. That's everything we know. That is everything we know about William Magnussen. Like, if you want to get technical, yes, that is a backstory. That is a story that someone said happened to him, but that doesn't make it good. This tragic shock value backstory just isn't doing it for me. And then after backstory, we have connection. So William's relationships with people. And like the thing is, William is supposed to be like the most popular boy in school. He's like the head of this entire group of boys, this entire Rus bus, I don't know, called the Penetrators. He's supposed to be like the leader of these guys and really popular and super cool, but he just doesn't have any friends. I can think of maybe 3 people William talks to who isn't Nuda. There's Vilda, who he insults and then gives like this bullshit apology that we find out was not real later. There is his brother, who he has 1 conversation with, and understandably so, it's a very stilted conversation. And then 3, there's Chris. Penetrator Chris, who is supposed to be his best friend, but I don't think they ever really have a conversation. I cannot think of more than like 3 times William has spoken to Chris. I'm pretty sure all he said in those instances were, okay, leave, and then the 3rd one was, keep the car running while I break up with my girlfriend. Like, that's it. Other than that, they like spend a lot of time standing next to each other and slow-mo fist bumping or something. Like, when you think about Chris and William as like a friendship, I have no opinion on it. So neutral in my brain because we never see them even interact. Their friendship is more like a theory, if anything else. Like, there's so little proof that it actually exists. When you think about it, William's relationships on screen boil down to just Nuda. He has nobody else that he really interacts with outside of Nuda, and all of his positive relationships to people, all of the people we see him really hold conversations with or talk to, have a good time with, all of those people stack up to just one. It's Nuda. That's it. It's the only person that he really has any connection to. It's the only person that he holds a real conversation with. For 4 seasons. Everybody in Scum has friends. Everybody. All of the main characters, all of the side characters, even all of the Pepsi Max girls like laugh at each other's jokes. I don't know. And if he was like a loner character, then like I get that, but he doesn't develop any real friendships or relationships outside of Nuda either. Their relationship is super rocky, so it's not exactly like fun. It's just really weird. So the 3rd one is goals. What does William want? What are his interests? His hobbies? What's his favorite flavor of cereal? What does he want? He wants to bang Nuda? He wants to date Nuda? Like, outside of that, there really is just nothing. Every other character in Scum has something that they're passionate about, that they enjoy doing. You have Vilda and her Kosegrupa and her bus activities. Isak loves science and bad rapping. Sana has her religion, her friends. She wants to become a surgeon. Yusuf works at a kindergarten. He likes children. He likes making videos with his friend. Evan likes movies and directing, likes comics. Even Mahdi has passions. William is never once shown having an interest or a goal or anything outside of Nuda. He never talks about his favorite ice cream or whether or not he can play the piano, or maybe he has a secret interest in fashion design. You know, that would have been fun to have in season 2, like a conversation between the 2 of them about literally anything of substance, but, you know, about whether or not William has any goals, or what Nuda's goals are versus William's goals. And maybe William doesn't have any goals because he always just thought that he would end up working for his father. But then he discovers in that conversation that he has a secret dream to become a patissier. And then, like, Nuda buys him like a professionally made cupcake, you know, like with those fancy edible pearls and stuff on top, and she puts it in a box, right? After maybe like they fight, and she goes to bring it to him, but then Nikolai tells her that he's off making out with another girl, and the box falls and smashes to the ground in slow motion. That would have been fun, but no, we don't get any of that. And it's like, okay, if maybe 2 of these 3 areas of character development were like kind of solid, you could forgive the 3rd one for slipping, but William doesn't have any of them, and it does not create a good foundation when you're trying to put a character through some kind of redemption and convince the audience that he is like not a terrible guy. Now I want to talk about William's predatory attitudes, which sounds like a really terrible thing, and it really is. So William first decides to pursue the season 2 main, our friend, all-around hipster goddess, Nuda Satir. Is that how you say her name? William decides to pursue Nuda after a particular scene in season 1, where Nuda just like kind of takes his scalp, physically rips it off, and then tosses it so far he has to take a plane all the way to Stockholm to go get it back. After this scene, William very confidently and persistently starts to pursue Nuda. He like asks her out, he compliments her all the time, asking her out on dates, and Nuda very firmly replies each time, no. She says no. In season 1, she says no. In season 2, she says no. No, 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 nej, no. Nej, William. Nej, nej, Wilhelm. That's how she says it. And yet, he keeps pursuing her. And if that weren't enough, it's not that he just keeps asking her out. It very obviously makes Nuda uncomfortable, and I feel like he definitely crosses a line. By the time season 2 opens up, there is a very serious kind of tonal shift on Nuda's part, from where in season 1, William, for example, comes up to her and says, "Hey Nuda, you're really hot," and stuff, and Nuda like rolls her eyes and is like, "I don't like you." It's a little bit more lighthearted, but also very much a rejection. But then in season 2, there's a scene, I think in the first episode, where Nuda is wearing this shirt, and it's like an off-the-shoulder kind of shirt, right? And William texts her and is like, "I really like your shirt, you look hot in it." And Nuda looks around and he's watching her, and she's very visibly uncomfortable with that, and she puts her jacket back on because she's uncomfortable with that. And that change in reaction kind of lets the viewer know that this is not okay anymore, and it's creepy. It wasn't okay the first time, but now Nuda is uncomfortable, and it's disrupting the way that she feels when she's trying to go about her daily life. And at this point, I think that's when it becomes like a serious, I'm not comfortable with this kind of situation. He doesn't just compliment her shirt, he is watching her from across the room and texting her about it. Like, it's creepy. It's really creepy. And William does this a lot. Like, his physicality with Nuda, when they get together, before they get together, after they get together, at time, it feels very much like he is the predator and she is the prey. Like, there's a lot of him watching her from across the room. He sneaks up behind her and scares her and thinks it's funny. it certainly did not make me want to like him. Now you might say, but Gina, it's fine because she really liked him all along. To that I will respond, yeah, she does love him because that's the way she's written. What? Of course she likes him. She's written that way. Of course. As weird and hard as it is to remember sometimes, these characters don't have any agency of their own. Nuda does not make her own decisions. Guess who makes the decisions for her? Julie Andem, who writes the story. Julie Andem could have also written that she likes a lot of other shitty things. Like, Nuda also loves fracking, Transformers movies, and Daughtry, and that would have been just as canon because Julie Andem wrote it. The only difference between Julie Andem writing that Nuda's in love with William and me writing that she's not is that one of us has rights over the character. And unfortunately, it's not me. And it's really frustrating because this whole, oh, she was saying no, but really she wanted to say yes trope has been going on with people writing female characters for a long ass time. And for almost just as long, people have been criticizing it.
I am very sensible of the honor of your proposals, but it is impossible for me to accept them.
I am by no means discouraged, indeed not. I understand that it is usual with young ladies to reject the addresses of the man they secretly mean to accept when he first applies for their favor, and therefore I shall hope, my dear cousin, to lead you to the altar before long.
Upon my word, your hope is an extraordinary one in view of my declaration. I was perfectly serious in my refusal.
Because it sucks, because it's not realistic. But authors and writers keep setting up this trope of like the sassy woman who is independent and stuff, but then she meets this guy who keeps pursuing her, and then suddenly she realizes that she doesn't want to be independent. What she really wants is a man. No, just no, nay. So the Pop Culture Detective has a really good video on a topic like this that deals with like predatory physicality and women saying no but meaning yes. And it's on Harrison Ford movies, which I thought was really interesting. So like Indiana Jones and Star Wars and I think Blade Runner being the main one. And at first I thought that it really couldn't be compared to Scum and William because like in the Harrison Ford movies he like is very I don't know, he's very violent with the women that he's pursuing. Like Indiana Jones at some point like takes his whip and like lassos the woman that he's trying to get and he like drags her in, and it's so bad. It is so bad. And so I thought that it couldn't be the same thing because William never like grabs Nuda and forces her to kiss him, right? And a lot of people defend him and say that even if while he was pursuing Nuda, he was crossing boundaries. When Nuda tells him like point blank to leave in I think episode 5 during a party he does, that's not knowing what boundaries are. Like pursuing somebody and making them really uncomfortable for 5 months straight, because you know it starts in season 1 and then from season 1 to season 2. Pursuing someone for 5 months straight and then backing off is not knowing what boundaries are. Him showing the littlest bit of human decency and not literally stalking Nuda until the day she dies or she has to call the police, or physically assaulting her, him not doing those things is not decency. He still made her uncomfortable and pursued her after she very clearly told him no for months. Anyway, the point of this was that the Harrison Ford thing and the William thing aren't dissimilar things, because William still has these predatory kind of physical attitudes where he stands over her and she looks afraid, or he sneaks up behind her and scares her. He's watching her from across the room. All of these different things that frame him as preying on her somehow. or her as being afraid of him, and then realizing that what she actually wants is him. It's the same kind of thing, and it's not cool. Okay, buckle up, because now we're going to talk about William and Nuda and sex and sexual assault, is what I'll call it. Yeah. So, let's start with something that everybody always brings up when they don't like William, all of the time. In the very last episode of Scum, in like the last few minutes, Nuda decides to tell William that she wants to have sex with him in the most ridiculous way. She texts him and she's like, I know what I want, and then you don't see like what she texts him, but Akon's
And you already know I wanna fuck you. You already know I wanna fuck you.
I Wanna Fuck You starts playing. And I thought that was really funny. But, so they're lying in bed, literally in the middle of this party. He says, I know I should wait and ask you if you're ready, but I don't care. And it's like, the noise that I made when I heard that was just kind of like, ugh. My eyes rolled into the back of my head. Because how idiotic, how stupendously bad of a decision it was to have that line in there. I cannot fathom what was going through Julie Andem's head. Because, okay, so up to this point, Nuda has told us about having problems with sex and intimacy, how she has had bad experiences with it in the past, how it was traumatic for her, and she's literally in the midst of dealing with a sexual assault. And then William just decides to say, I don't care. What? And it's just a throwaway line, is my thing, you know? Like, it didn't need to be there. And William's character was already so shitty. And now you're just gonna drag this character into the depths of hell with this throwaway shitty line that it's just supposed to be there for them to giggle over as you cut the camera away to the rest of the party? You didn't have to. Did you have to? You didn't have to. Like, this one line completely undermines everything that Nuda has been struggling with sexual intimacy and being comfortable with other people and opening up to other people, not even just in a sexual way. And it doesn't matter, but it matters, you know? It was just really undermining and unnecessary and a huge party foul, man. So let's move on to the thing that I probably take issue with the most, like the thing that just gets my goat. The thing that just butters my biscuit. No, I don't want to use that one. That's like a positive thing. The thing that just dehydrates my crops. William's reaction to Nuda's sexual assault. So, William's brother tells Nuda, under false pretenses, that William is out of town seeing another girl when they're in the middle of a fight, and she has no way to contact him, and she believes him. And then he offers her alcohol and she takes it. She gets blackout drunk at this party and wakes up with him in the bed and doesn't know if she slept with him and also another girl. So she asks him if they slept together and he says no, and then yes, and he has these naked pictures of her, and she kind of panics and he's like, oh, well, we should talk, and he's being a real big creep about it, like the worst. At this point, Nuda starts relapsing. She's eating less, she's irritable, she's self-isolating, and thinking that there's nothing that she can do to help herself in this situation. She learns that she does have her rights and there are things that she can do, and she confronts Nico, and frankly, she rips him a fucking new one, man. It's really something to see. But then, Nico tells William that they slept together. They being Nuda and Nico, not Nico and William. And from this boyfriend who was so supportive, like, I don't know, 2 days ago, we see this. I was completely disappointed in this clip and the ones following it. just devastated in the writing and what happened. Because, and there's that body language thing again, you know? He backs her up against a wall. He backs her up against a wall and she is terrified. He is towering over her and she's terrified. When I first watched the scene, I genuinely was afraid that he was going to put his hands on her, you know? And that's not the way it should be. It's not okay to even make the suggestion in this framing that he could be violent towards her. So he asked Nuda if she slept with Nikolai, and she tells him, I don't know. And this like raises no question within him. Okay, I can understand being heated in the moment, and then his reaction after that scene was super not okay. So after that scene, we see Nuda texting William, and depending on what translation you were watching, you may or may not have seen these texts, because some of them just tell you to go to Google Translate because they're too long. But anyway, she tells him that she was blackout drunk and she doesn't remember anything, and he doesn't answer her. Complete radio silence. So at this point, Nuda has been left by her boyfriend in the wake of sexual assault, dropped like a rock, with absolutely no contact, no sympathy. And then, when she finally sees him again, nothing. He just stares right past her or whatever. She has to like beg him just to talk to her. And then when they do talk, it's more of the same. It's Nuda begging for William to come back to her. For what? Not being completely clear the first time he asked if she had slept with his brother, that it was potentially rape? And it's like, when you think about the reactions of Nuda's friends versus her boyfriend, like, now, Julie's decisions in William's reaction really confuse me because I don't know what her intent was with it. It seems kind of counterproductive. Like, what was she trying to communicate to the audience about this situation? Nuda keeps the same secret from both her friends and her boyfriend. When her friends find out, their immediate reaction is support, and then when her boyfriend finds out, he rejects her immediately. What is Julie trying to do here? And I'm really not comfortable with this decision for a couple of reasons. One, because what is this communicating? What is William's reaction communicating to girls who have been sexually abused? Like, when your boyfriend or significant other finds out, they're going to break up with you. Or when your significant other finds out, you should apologize. I just don't understand. Everything about the way William handles this situation, both in season 2 and later we find out in season 3/4, puts the attention on him and makes it about him. Because like, so in season 3, Nuda leaves William and she doesn't say why. In season 4, we find out it's because she went to go testify against Nico and she couldn't. And then after that, William just started like, again, was punishing her for the way that she handled her sexual assault and the aftermath of it. They don't talk about any of this. In season 4, she says they talk about it, but it's like, off-screen resolution is the most dissatisfying thing as a viewer. Also, can I just say, like, Nikolai's character in general really bothers me because, like, if you want me to sympathize with William, if you want me to feel bad for William, how about showing William on screen caring about something? How about showing William on screen caring about his sister or talking about his sister? How about showing William doing anything, you know? And it's really frustrating because, like, the building blocks of it almost being possible for him to do those things are there. Like, when he helps Nuda write that paper, which was really terrible. It was a bad paper. Like, he has the potential to be a character that I could possibly sympathize with, but I literally just cannot see myself ever doing it because he just doesn't. He does nothing. In terms of William's backstory, like the whole dead sister thing and his parents being terrible and Nikolai being terrible, kind of feels really cheap. William doesn't feel like he changes at all. What changes are the circumstances around William. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't work for anything or say anything that is indicative of change as a person. What happens is we find out that he has a shitty family life. We find out that his brother is terrible. We find out that his sister is dead. Mostly, we find out these things through, like, other people. I don't think a character needs to be a good person in order for you to like them. It's not because he's a bad guy. He could still be a bad guy and be a likable character. I think there are plenty of bad guys out there who are likable characters. William is a bad guy and a bad character. It's bad writing. That's the reason I don't like. Why and how am I supposed to care about a character who all he has is some half-ass backstory, which is really cliched, not even told by him. He has almost zero moments of emotional vulnerability, no reason for me to want to connect to him, and he shows maybe 3 emotions because I guess the writer and director thinks that stoic men are still really hot or something. I don't know. I'm tired of toxic masculinity. Get that shit out of my life in 2018. I deserve better. Norway deserved better. Everybody who's watched Scum deserves better. America deserves better. We deserve better. So, I'm gonna look at my notes. I don't understand how you're going to try and, like, push your audience into just, like, accepting that this relationship is a thing and try and make them support it by just having your characters go, well, it's happening, so you better get over it. Like, what is that? Why carrots? Why couldn't they use strawberries? They're so much better. Make strawberry shortcake. Why carrots? William sucks. I don't care if William has 12 dead sisters. I'm not gonna like him or feel bad for him. I mean, I'm gonna feel bad for him for like a second, but at the very end of the story, after he has just left his girlfriend for being sexually assaulted, you know, I think if William had been played differently, this could have gone a lot better. I've told people several times, like, my ideal iteration of season 2 is like, so season 1 happens exactly the same, and William's like a dickbag or whatever, right? And then something happens, right? Something that makes William, like, pause in his pursuit of Nuna, because he has other stuff in his life going on too, right? Like, Nuna's not the only thing happening. And they're in a class together or something, or maybe a club, right? They're somehow stuck in this situation a couple of times together, and Nuna's like apprehensive about it at first, but then he doesn't act how she expects him to react. And Nuna's apprehensive about it at first, but then he doesn't act how she expects him to act, and she wonders what the change is up with. And she wonders what's up with the change, and then realizes that he's not as cliche as she thought he was, and they actually spend time together and become friends, just friends, you know, for a while, until she pursues him or something, you know? Like, it could have been really, really nice, you know? They could have started as friends or something, and then flipped it. I don't know. And then, get this, when she's sexually assaulted, he actually believes her and supports her. I don't know. It's a crazy idea I came up with, guys. I don't know if it'll really sell. And then also,